Yeah, it's not just freedom for the sake of freedom. Yeah, but I should be delivering people from a system, from a mindset. I should be a leverage to people. So that is how we began. So today I want us to progress on that. We are still doing introductions. We're still in the very introductory stages of these things. So I want us to, today we'll look at style, but we will concentrate more on government. Style, but we'll concentrate more on what? On government and kingdoms, right? So what is style? Style is basically, you can basically just explain it as a manner of doing or presenting things. Style is a manner of doing or presenting things. All right? Okay. So when we now begin saying someone is stylish, the difference between a stylishly dressed person and a dressed person is what? Manner, right? Manner. So there's a lot of information that goes into that. But remember, what are we looking at? How these things flow, because you should always remember none of these things are existing by themselves. There's nothing random. That is very important to understand. There's nothing random. Everything is flowing. Everything is a flow. So it flows from a head, right? Then from this head, it comes, influences things, so that by the time we're coming to talk about fashion, there are already other influences that have dominated, greater influences that have dominated, that now we come and end up with what? With fashion. Okay? That's why it is very important to study kingdoms, governments, and governings. Okay? So what is a government? What is a government? A government is the system or a group of people governing an organized community. It's a system or a group of people governing an organized community. So it comes from the Greek verb kubernao, K-U-B-E-R-N-A-O, which means to steer with a rudder. To steer with a rudder, the way you would steer a ship. The way you would steer a ship. Okay? So a government is always created because there is a need for governance. Government is created because there is a need for governance. So what is this governance that we're talking about? It can be, so governance is all the processes of interactions, be they through laws, norms, power, or language, of an organized society, of our social system, as I say it again, Governance is all the process of interactions, be they through the laws, norms, power, or language of an organized society over a social system. That social system includes family, tribe, formal or an informal organization, or a territory. We can also further explain it as the way rules, norms, and actions, rules, norms, and actions are structured, sustained, and regulated, and held accountable. It's the way rules, norms, and actions are structured, sustained, regulated, and held accountable. So in many words, what are we saying? In many words, because we are using a lot of them, right? Governance is the control of social life. Governance is the control of social life. Very important. Very important. Very important. Now, you remember I told you our textbook, our core textbook is what? Is the Bible. So Genesis chapter 10, from verse 8 to verse 11 says, and Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. I want you to look at the scriptures very carefully. Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calne in the land of Shinar, or Babylon. Out of that land went forth Ashur, and builded Nineveh, and the city Rehoboth, and Kala. So it's very interesting that the word kingdom is first mentioned in the Bible, first mentioned in Genesis chapter 10 and verse 10. The beginning of his kingdom. So Genesis 11 from verse 1. Bible says, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and bind them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, with the children of men builded. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one. The people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore the name of it is called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. So there's something you see very interesting. Chapter 10, what are you seeing? Kingdom. A man becomes great, comes and develops the concept of kingdom. Then, chapter 11, what are you seeing? The whole earth is of language and of one speech. So the essence of government, is the unification